Honduras is one of the poorest countries in Central and South America. It has the highest murder rate in the world, almost double the rate of the next closest contender. It's a place ravaged by the drug trade and plagued by political instability. A place where the military recently ousted the president after he began exploring his options to rewrite the Constitution and extend his own term. It may seem like one of the last places on Earth where businesses would want to invest and outsiders would want to move. But there's a new idea about to be tried in Honduras. It's called a ZED, a politically autonomous, privately run zone that supporters believe could transform not only Honduras, but the entire developing world. The laws are all in place, investors are lined up and ready to go, and the big question's about to be answered. Will this actually work?
One of the biggest challenges a poor person faces in the world today is the inability to access good law and governance.
Zach Caceres is the executive director of the Startup Cities Institute, a research organization based out of Guatemala's University of Francisco Marroquin.
On the one hand, we are really good at making better physical technologies. Cell phones always get better, computers always get better, cameras always get better. On the other hand, you have social technologies. You have the ways in which we organize ourselves, our law and governance systems. These are not subject to entrepreneurial trial and error. In fact, they're essentially locked away from competition and innovation. When you see someone who is in grinding poverty, but they have a smartphone, you can really see this paradox on display. And what I'm suggesting is let's bring the same kind of progress, the same kind of benefit of entrepreneurial trial and error to social tech that we already know works in physical tech, because fundamentally both of these things are technology and they are open to innovation. The way that it works is that it designates particular zones that enjoy a high degree of autonomy. In particular in areas of commercial law, independent police force, labor law, various other kinds of things. The idea is to develop different areas in Honduras with institutions that the reformers hope will be better for the economic development of the country.
The Honduran Congress first passed legislation creating special zones in 2011. But the project hit a roadblock when one of its most high-profile proponents, economist Paul Romer, pulled out and disavowed the project, citing transparency concerns. The Supreme Court soon thereafter declared the plan unconstitutional. The Congress then amended the Constitution and passed a new version of the legislation. This opened the door for what in Honduras are known as the Zones for Employment and Economic Development, or ZEDs.
It's a very exciting moment, because this project, if it accomplishes what it's capable of doing, will demonstrate inside of Honduras and to the world that the capacity for solving problems and for creating jobs in particular can go forward with a velocity that very few people have been expecting.
Mark Klugman is a former Reagan speechwriter and board member on the Committee for the Adoption of Best Practices, the board that has final approval over proposed zones. Klugman has worked with reformers in several countries over the last few decades, and until now, he's always approached reform in a more orthodox way, by tackling one issue at a time.
I had an awakening which was, we'll never arrive this way.
Klugman likes to refer to the idea as a leap zone, visualized as a chair with 4 legs: legal, economic, administrative, and political. Take out one leg, and the chair loses stability, and investors flee.
What happens if you say, our constant will be time? We want all of them immediately and simultaneously. The model is the constant. That's the starting point, is everything. And then the variable becomes what? Space, land, area.
Right now, you have people who live in places that have bad governance. In the case of Honduras, they have very serious governance challenges. And you have people who are willing to risk their lives on extremely dangerous journeys across national borders to access other forms of law and governance. They're voting with their feet for different systems. I think Startup Cities is a much more humane way of dealing with this. So for me, what Startup Cities is about is actually lowering the barriers of entry to good governance for the average person.
No Honduran ZEDs have yet been launched, but Klugman expects the committee to begin reviewing proposals in the next several months. In the meantime, there are some existing areas in Honduras that might act as a preview of what's to come.